In 2024, I flew on 45 flights for over 88,000 miles, equivalent to 3.5 times around the world. I traveled a cumulative of 6 months for leisure and for fun, half of the time with my high paying corporate job, and the other half just for funsies. Friends and family are always asking, how do you do it? Travel with a job and now aimlessly frolicking through life without one. So here I am to tell my story. 3 years ago, I hit my version of a breaking point. I was at home crying in this room during a therapy session, sharing the events of a nervous mental breakdown that I had earlier that day. I was spiraling to my version of rock bottom. Honestly, I couldn't recognize myself or my life anymore. I was living in a cluttered mess. I was getting shipments sent to my house every single day. I was shopping my sorrows away instead of actually dealing with my problems. I completely abandoned self-care. All of these telltale signs of burnout. How did I get here? Because it wasn't just one thing or one event that led to this nervous breakdown. It was a series of them. First, a wrist injury that prevented me from working out intensely, a breakup that shattered my sense of self-worth, no boundaries at home between where I found my place of peace to where I needed to be productive in order to earn an income. The unexpected passing of my Lola, who was one of the people that helped to raise me. And lastly, but also most importantly, the burnout from chasing goals and living peak hustle culture. I felt stuck in the never-ending cycle of being overworked and striving for perfection. Nothing I did was ever enough. And even with therapy, I just honestly did not know how to stop. But I do think hitting that tipping point was exactly what I needed. And that is essentially where this part of my journey actually began. I got honest with myself in therapy. Instead of calling myself lazy when I would spend a day doing nothing instead of being productive, I really tried to show myself grace. I told myself that I was doing nothing because my body literally needed the rest. I traveled a lot because I needed to step away from everything that reminded me of hustle culture. And to me, it was everything at home in the Bay Area. So for me, travel was a form of therapy. It encouraged me to get out there, sit in silence, reflect, and my therapist actually encouraged it. We knew that whenever I traveled, it was one of the only times where I would actually prioritize myself, because I didn't use it as a way to escape. It actually forced me to really sit with my thoughts and focus on doing the things that I love, and eventually that would lead me back to me. Traveling forced me to face my fears rather than avoid them. So every time I traveled alone or with a group, I was forced to embrace uncertainty, which is something I am so terrible at because perfectionism, I want to be in control of the outcome, but everyone knows you can't control life. You just kind of have to go with the flow. So simple moments of exploring a new place, laughing with strangers, becoming uncomfortable because I can't speak the local language, spending a lot of alone time, all of those things, they really allowed me to be me rather than trying to be this version of who I think the job, my family, the person I'm seeing, what I thought that they wanted me to be. I was just me. By the time I was done with a trip, I would feel so full of love for myself, love for life, and I would feel so excited to get back home. But once I got back into the rhythm of things, it was back to the same old thing. I'd break the same promises that I would make to myself every single trip. I would never prioritize myself. It was always prioritize work, prioritize family, prioritize everyone else and everything else in my life except for me. I knew I needed to make a drastic change. It took a year and a half of going back and forth on my decision, but I finally mustered up the courage to make the scariest decision of my life thus far. I was always the girl with the plan, and now I no longer have one. I stepped off the corporate career ladder that I spent 15 years climbing. I quit my stable, high-paying job as a global HR director with nothing but my savings and the desire to slow down and live a more intentional life. 10 of those 15 years were spent working in hyper-growth startup environments. So now, without any distractions, I'm going all in on this commitment to myself. Basically, with the goal to prioritize the things that truly matter to me, my holistic health, my happiness, and creating a life that I love. I know healing is not linear, and I know that there is no checklist to living an authentic life. There are just choices. My choices to decide what I want in my life and what feels good for me right now. It is absolutely scary. Half the time, I don't know what the F I'm doing or where I am going. I joke and I say that I'm having an existential crisis. But with that also comes moments of laughter, connection, and pure joy. And isn't that what this journey is about anyway? Hi world, I'm Sarah. I am scared, but also very excited to share my journey with you. Not because I have it all together, but because I absolutely do not. And you know what? It's 100% okay to still be figuring it out. Or at least that's what I'm telling myself. I want to share all of my travel experiences, reflections, and learnings from my journey. I'm hoping that by sharing what I have learned from living a more intentional life, it might resonate with you. And in turn, I hope that you feel seen and heard, and I hope that you know that you are not alone. Because the truth is, we are all just trying to figure out this thing called life. So, if any of this resonates with you, follow along and share space with me. Let's catch flights and process feelings. Here's to creating lives that feel authentic to our truest selves.